This is the Ice Age, a time when ice covered nearly 1/3 of Earth's surface, a world where the cold decided who would live and who would vanish forever. In that world, giant creatures once walked across ice and snow. Some became legends, others were forgotten. And today, I will travel back in time with you to explore one of the most mysterious creatures of this era, the cave bear. Ursus Spelaeus, one of the largest terrestrial mammals ever to live during the Ice Age. An adult male could weigh between 600 and 1,000 kilograms. With a massive body wrapped in thick fur, a short yet extremely powerful neck, a large skull with a high forehead, and jaws that seemed as though they were made to crush the world itself. A giant bear that dominated Europe for hundreds of thousands of years, weighing nearly a ton, taller than a human when standing upright, possessing jaws strong enough to shatter bone. Yet, paradoxically, it was not the ferocious predator modern humans often imagine. Analysis of fossilized teeth reveals that cave bears fed primarily on plants, roots, nuts, tough grasses, and occasionally carrion. A vegetarian giant, living in an age ruled by some of the most ruthless predators to ever exist. When we think of a creature so immense, we often imagine a predator. But science tells a different story. Analysis of stable isotopes in tooth enamel shows that the cave bear's diet was primarily plant-based, tough grasses, roots, nuts, and plants capable of surviving in a cold climate. Large teeth, flat grinding surfaces, designed for crushing, not tearing. The cave bear did not need to hunt to survive. It needed time and a summer long enough to store energy for the coming winter. It was larger than the modern African lion. No mane, muscles developed to endure the cold. The cave lion, Ursus Spelaeus, was the apex predator of Ice Age Europe. Unlike the cave bear, the cave lion hunted in groups. An adult bear was a dangerous opponent, but an old bear or a mother with cubs became a target. Evidence from Chauvet Cave shows that humans carved scenes of cave lions confronting bears, a memory that was anything but accidental. In the natural world, there are predators that kill, and there are those that survive by exploiting death. The cave hyena belonged to the latter group. But make no mistake, scavenging does not mean weakness. A hyena's jaws could crush bones to reach the marrow, an extremely valuable, fat-rich source of energy during the Ice Age. When everything was scarce, bone marrow was like concentrated fuel. So how did cave hyenas confront cave bears? They rarely fought healthy bears. They fought with time, waiting for bears to die in their caves, from old age, disease, or injury. Breaking in when caves were empty, while bears were out foraging. Attacking cubs when the opportunity arose. Stealing carcasses, waiting until after a bear had fought another animal. In many caves, researchers have found cave bear bones dragged across the floor, shattered by bites, dense tooth marks clustered at the ends of the bones exactly where the marrow is richest. These were not lion marks, not bear marks. They were the marks of a creature that specialized in bone processing, the most chilling strategy, occupying the graveyard. Caves were where cave bears were born and where they died. But as bear populations declined, empty caves became more common, and hyenas did not see empty caves. They saw a food warehouse. You can imagine it. A pack of hyenas moving in, dragging bone after bone, jaws cracking in the darkness, turning what was once a bear's fortress into a bone-crushing factory. For cave hyenas, victory did not require blood, only a winter longer than usual. A lone wolf stood almost no chance against a cave bear. It would be swatted aside like a piece of wood, but wolves do not hunt that way. Wolves win through endurance and organization. The Ice Age was a world where stamina sometimes mattered more than the bite. So how did wolves kill? They did not charge in to die. They did something far simpler, tracking and shadowing their prey for hours, forcing the bear to keep moving, losing heat, losing energy, launching quick strikes at the heels, driving the bear away from safety. And their targets were rarely the strongest adult bears. Instead, they were young bears newly emerged from the den, females depleted of fat after nursing cubs, or injured bears. In a world where every calorie mattered, a wolf pack did not need bravery. It needed discipline. A classic scene: a cave bear crosses a frozen valley in search of rare patches of dry grass. On the far edge, a pack of wolves stands motionless, like statues. No barking, no growling, only eyes. They do not attack at once. They let the bear tire itself out. When the bear turns back, they retreat. When the bear moves forward, they advance. A hunt in which the victim never knows when it truly began. Not every enemy is a predator. Sometimes, the most dangerous enemy is the one that takes what you need. Brown bears' ancestors, or closely related ancient populations, had one key advantage: they were more flexible. While cave bears depended heavily on rock caves and long hibernation, brown bears could adapt more broadly omnivorous diets, varied movement, and the use of many different types of shelter. When the climate changed, the flexible survived. And as caves became scarce or were occupied by humans, competition within the bear family became a real pressure. Better caves, more diverse food sources, higher reproductive success. There was no need for constant fighting. Just push the rival away from the best options. If the cave lion was strength, if the cave hyena was opportunity, then humans were intention. Humans did not need muscles to defeat cave bears. They needed three things: fire turning caves into places that no longer belonged to bears, clothes, and long-range weapons: spears, javelins, thrown stones, traps. Cooperation, many people, multiple angles of attack, taking turns in pursuit. The core issue: humans and bears needed the same thing. Warm, dry caves were the most valuable real estate of the Ice Age. Humans entered caves for shelter. Bears entered caves to hibernate and give birth. The two species could not share them for long. If humans occupied a cave before winter, bears lost their refuge. If bears claimed it first, humans found ways to take it back. And humans had a terrifying advantage. They could plan by the seasons. They did not always hunt, but when they did, they chose the perfect moment. When bears were hibernating, slow reflexes, confined space, no room to flee. When females had cubs protecting their young, prevented immediate escape. When bears left, the cave ambushes were possible at the entrance. A spear placed in exactly the right spot did not require strength. It required knowledge, and humans learned very quickly. And then there was an enemy that could not be fought. No roar, no claws, no shape to be seen, only rising temperatures. As the earth slowly warmed, cave bears did not lose a single decisive battle. They were worn down by predators that knew how to choose the moment, scavengers that knew how to wait for opportunity, packs that understood patience, more flexible competitors, humans who knew how to plan, and a planet that changed the rules of the game. In the Ice Age, what kills a species is not necessarily what is stronger. It is what adapts faster. Vegetation changed, Cold grasslands retreated, forests expanded, seasonal cycles shifted, the timing of growth and fruiting changed. The old-style summers, the seasons that allowed cave bears to build fat reserves, were no longer reliable. For a large species heavily dependent on energy storage, this was a fatal blow. Cave bears did not die from one starving season. They died from being short, just a little, every year. And in evolution, sometimes just a little is enough to ensure there is no next generation.